History remembers moments of extraordinary strength, skill, and determination. True greatness is forged by those who fulfill their destiny.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Spa Babies, presented by Spendthrift. I'm Dan Illman, along with Nicole Russo, and our final Spa Baby race of 2022 is the traditional closing day feature at Saratoga. It's the Grade 1 hopeful on Labor Day, 7 furlongs, some of the top 2-year-olds in the country. Let's take a peek at them. We only have a 6-horse field, Nicole, but these are extremely talented 2-year-olds, led arguably by the 2 Uncle Mo's, the 5 Mo Strike, the 4 Gulfport.
Yeah, both already stakes winners who we have discussed this summer on Spa Babies. We've seen all 6 of these run at Saratoga this summer, and the Hopeful is one of my favorite races of the year, and I love this race on closing day at Saratoga because even as I'm sad to see the summer wind down, it just gets you looking ahead with these 2-year-olds, and the name of the race just sums up everything I feel all summer as we look at these young horses taking the first steps of their racing careers and wondering what they're going to become in the future. The list of winners of this race reads like a who's who of racing history. And we've got 6 2-year-olds trying to add their name to that illustrious list, and every set of their connections hopeful that this is just the beginning for them.
And 2 of those 2-year-olds, trained by the legendary Wayne Lucas. The longest shot in the race will likely be the number 1 Western Ghent, but talk about a hardy colt. This is going to be his 4th start at Saratoga this summer, and he just got to the winner's circle last time out, dropping into a $75,000 maiden claimer. Let's watch that race right now. Now, in Western Ghent's prior race, a maiden special weight at Saratoga, he was hooked up in a pace battle with some pretty talented runners. He got some class relief. There was no such impediment for him to get to the front. He's very, very game, though, battling back to win.
Yeah, and this horse faced some nice company in his 3 maiden special weight efforts and got a good foundation under him while doing so. He's already gone the 7 furlongs, probably got a confidence boost when he finally broke his maiden in his 4th start with that class relief. The bad news for him is he's now stepping way up in class again. I'll expect him to use the speed he showed last time out from the rail. As you said, one of 2 in here for Wayne Lucas, who has won this race a record 8 times. He turned 87 on Friday and is in action in both 2-year-old Grade 1s on closing weekend.
A very courageous performance, but as Nicole rightly says, this colt will be stepping up in class and facing some other speeds while breaking from a tough inside post. The number 2 is Forte, a facile debut winner at Belmont back in May, and then the beaten favorite in the Sanford. And maybe if you want to make an excuse for the Sanford, it was that the pace wasn't relatively fast for that caliber of runner, and Forte tried to come from out of it, and maybe the slow pace sort of blunted his kick.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair assessment. I loved his debut win. He was well beaten in the Sanford while passing some horses late. I think he's probably better than he showed that day. And the Sanford, which we'll talk about in a minute, it's coming back a solid race. I don't think he embarrassed himself.
Mr. Lucas also has the 3 Bourbon Bash, who finished 2nd behind fellow hopeful entrant Blazing Sevens in his career debut. This horse has a ton of speed. Let's watch his 2nd lifetime start where he went to the front and he forgot to stop. He has a huge lead turning into the stretch. He continues to pour it on, and he wins by 8 with an 83 buyer.
Yeah, and a ton of speed in his family that certainly helped him out there. His dam Buy-Sell Hold, a stakes-winning 2-year-old sprinting. She's a full sister to Volatile, Grade 1 winner at Saratoga a few years back, a very fast horse. It's the family of Grade 1 winner Lady Tack. And City of Light, the sire, he had brilliance that he could carry at distance. His runners are starting to light up. They were sort of late developers, but now he's really on a roll, and I certainly expect 7 furlongs to be within this horse's scope. Came back from that maiden win to post a bullet work recently, so I think no question about how he's going to run this race.
Gulfport is up next, and he's one of the more naturally talented horses in this entire division. He's trained by Steve Asmussen. He won his first 2 starts in super impressive fashion, including the Bashford Manor in his 2nd lifetime start. Let's watch his first loss, the Saratoga Special earlier this meet. Now, he was checked on the turn, and he sort of cost him a couple of lengths, and you wouldn't have faulted Gulfport if he just folded up the tent and finished an even third. But no, he is resolute, he gets to the outside, and he comes with a good run to finish second behind another very talented 2-year-old in Damon's Mound.
Yeah, Gulfport is so impressive, winning his first 2 starts at Churchill Downs, including just running away and hiding in the Bashford Manor with a 91 buyer. Ran into a little trouble in the Saratoga Special, and just ran into another very special talent there. I think, no disgrace in that defeat. Damon's Mound looks like a very special horse. Gulfport, one of 2 in here for Uncle Mo, a 2-year-old champion who has gone on to be a leading 2-year-old sire himself.
Flavian Pratt takes the mount for the first time aboard. Gulfport, who I expect to be forwardly placed, maybe sitting outside of Bourbon Bash, clear of traffic trouble. His dam's a full sister to Cross Traffic, a noted Spendthrift stallion. The 5 is Mo's Strike, a perfect 2 for 2 for trainer Brad Cox, and like Gulfport, sired by Uncle Mo. Let's watch his victory in the Grade 3 Sanford on opening week at Saratoga. He showed good speed, was in between horses. The pace was not very fast, but he looks like he's in some hot water here. That's a talented horse. Andiamo Alfirenze right outside of him. Mo Strike is able to surge past Andiamo Alfirenze and hold off the closers.
Yeah, a very professional young horse. And after he won the Sanford on opening weekend, they, freshened him up and waited for this spot. This is his target. And, you mentioned some of the nice horses he's faced, and that goes back to his debut at Churchill Downs. 3rd place Disarm came back and won and looks like a stakes horse. Western Ghent was also in that race, who we've discussed. He came back and won. And in the field of 12, a sizable field in the Sanford, Andiamo Alfirenze, who you mentioned, a well-bred New York bred who came back and was a stakes winner here a couple of weekends ago, and also ran behind Mo Strike and Forte, included Major Dude, who was 3rd in the Sapling, Curly Jack, who was 2nd in the Ellis Park Juvenile, and Boppy O, who won the With Anticipation on Wednesday at Saratoga. So it really looks like a good addition of the Sanford this year that they're all coming out of.
And completing this quality cast in the hopeful is the number 6 Blazing Sevens, who earned an 85 buyer speed figure in this likable debut back on July the 24th. As you see, Bourbon Bash was also in this race, and he showed his usual high speed. Blazing Sevens was placed on a very hard chase throughout, and he was able to get past Bourbon Bash and draw away to score. This was a very strong effort for Blazing Sevens. A colt that acts like the 7th furlong will not be a problem.
Absolutely. And, I think from a fitness standpoint, it's very hard for a young horse to chase and then go on like that. So I expect him even to move forward off of that. And being by Good Magic, a 2-year-old champion by Classic Sire Curlin, who went on to be classic placed, I expect these young horses to have precocity, which they're already showing. He's the sire of graded winner Vegas Magic, and to go on with some distance if they, continue in the pattern of the sire line.
Time for our top selections for the Grade 1 $300,000 hopeful. We're both on Mo Strike. I like his combination of speed and professionalism, and I think with 2 speed horses to his inside, Bourbon Bash and Gulfport, he can work out a good stalking trip under Fleury Giroux.
Yeah, I agree that he'll be able to work out a nice trip. And for me, it really came down to the quality of the competition that he's faced. Both of his races so far look like key races. I think that the 7 furlongs will be well within his scope. I'm looking for Bourbon Bash and Gulfport to, kind of slug it out and each hold on to a piece of it as well. And Forte to run, well again. As I said, I certainly don't think he embarrassed himself in the Sanford, which was a strong race.
5-3-4-2 for Nicole, 5-6-3-4 for me. It's the Grade 1 hopeful. We appreciate you watching Spa Babies all summer long. Our coverage presented by Spendthrift.